How's it going this morning, guys? I hope everybody's doing good. Crazy night with all the news on Trump. So there's not a lot of like single news because this is kind of taken over. So I'll just kind of go over that real quick, and then a couple things I'm looking at, and then as the market opens, I will go over some trade ideas in real time and stuff best I can this morning. So basically, the futures dropped. Dow over 300 points before open after Trump hints he may wait on trade deal. So he was in talking to reporters, and they asked him about the trade deal, and he said that he was in no hurry. And then he followed it that he actually thinks we might have a better deal if he waited till after the election. Um, the key phrasing here too is that he did not say that that's what's happening. It's that he is trying to use this to get this breather, and then he'll be able to inflate it back up again for that next leg up when he comes out with positive news. And I guarantee it within the next week or two, that's what'll happen. I'm seeing the highs probably around January. Again, is what I'm thinking we're going to do. So we'll probably do this for a couple of days, like we were just exactly what we were saying yesterday. I didn't see it quite going this steep, obviously, because the catalyst kind of propelled it, but definitely was expecting more of the same. As you can see on the futures here, gold is up pretty good, about $13 up so far, up pre-market. Bonds have really caught a bit up here in the last basically 16 hours, 12 hours, sorry. Is really propelled up. So bonds being really strong, gold moving up, silver moved up also. VIX is already all the way up at a 17. So there's definitely, and looking at my sentiment charts, there is a lot of pessimism going on in the market right now. Pretty much the only things that were up is Tesla was up slightly, and then bio stocks, and that's because there was a buyout on a big name, and so that basically, if you look around the board, that's the only thing that's up as of right now is all the bio stocks. So if you're looking for an extreme long there, that's about it. But it's pretty much already done pre-market. So a lot of this continued sell off into open. Yes, we might get a little bit of a bounce here and there up, but I really don't see this just turning off and squeezing back the other way. The key level was 3104 to the downside. That was the expected move in the SPX. So when this opens up here shortly, this thing could just accelerate to the downside. I mean, this is how we get one of those 3 sigma moves. This is exactly what I was talking about a couple weeks ago. When this happens, this is how it'll just drop, and then it just accelerates after all those stops are knocked out of place. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens here right out of the gate. If it either gets bought right back up, like by the dip type thing, or if it just accelerates. I'm expecting more of again, the same thing, all the action in the pre-market, and then pretty much just shopping around, the rest of the day. Yeah, so he in London, I'm just reading back to it. So what was it? The exact quote was, "In some ways, I like the idea of waiting until after the election for the China deal. But they want to make a deal now, and we will see whether or not the deal is going to be right." So that leaves a lot of room for interpretation. That's exactly why this is going to happen the way it is. There's a few other numbers coming out today. The other big thing was the administration is looking at putting tariffs on the EU now, up to 2.4 billion worth of French imports in retaliation for France's tax on American tech giants, mainly Google and Facebook. So they feel like that's unfair, that they're attacking U.S. companies. So that's also going to be a big push over the next few days, if not a couple weeks. Remember, those tariffs are supposed to go into effect on the 15th, the next leg up for China. So that'll be, this is all kind of running right into each other, but this is kind of creating the perfect storm for this big drop. Get some, we've been going up nonstop for weeks, right? So we needed this. So I'm seeing that this could, be the next push up. and then once we settle out, then we'll push back up. This is still exactly on course for the chart I've been charting. This is nothing different other than just a little bit earlier in December than we were expecting. I believe I had said the second week is what I was saying, so a week early. Yeah, no. So the other numbers come out. ICSC is already out. Redbook weekly sales comes out, and later this afternoon the API inventory numbers. So not too much earnings that I'm paying attention to other than ATGN and Marvel both report after the close. Most of our earnings are all done. I wouldn't be surprised if more good news comes out for the Black Friday sales stuff too, to kind of push this up. That wouldn't surprise me either. So I am gonna grab some more coffee real quick, guys, and then as we come into open here, I've got several trade ideas that I'm looking at, especially with the sell-off that's getting me back to wanting to buy again for longer term plays and stuff like that. Start setting stuff up, and again, I'll talk more about hedging and all that, because I think this is a really good lesson. I mean, I was able to cash out my VIX for 500% yesterday on one pop. I mean, that's why I did that. I kept lining them up just little by little, and yesterday they just popped, and it was, a few dollars to make a couple $1,000s. So like I'll go over more of that today when we get time after the market settles down a little bit in the morning. So let me go grab that. You guys should do the same. I'll be back here in just a couple minutes right before we're open, and then we'll go over some trade ideas after the market kind of starts picking some direction. Thanks, guys. Be right back. All right, guys, and here we go. Crazy start here to the beginning. So I'm going to be watching these bonds, you guys. This is another thing I keep pushing all the time. /ZB. You guys, if you want to learn how to play this market and make the career out of this and make real money, I am telling you, one of the most important things you guys can do is you need to pay attention to these bonds. I know people don't really, it's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but the bonds will tell you everything. If the bonds are selling off, we're probably bullish. If the bonds are accelerating like they are today, this is a telltale sign that this thing isn't going to just, rip up anytime soon. These are just continuing to be bought up. If these start to sell off, then we might see the divergence where then this could start to sell back up. So I cannot stress this enough. A lot of people for years have been using the VIX. The problem is most people do not understand what the VIX is. That is the biggest problem with playing the VIX. They think it's the telltale sign of, if the VIX is up, then it's bearish. Well, that's not really true, considering all the VIX is literally a mathematical equation on puts and calls being bought in specifically just the SPX. That's one product, right? And the thing is that a lot of those are hedging. The big firms, most little guys, retail guys don't use the SPX, right? That's huge big money playing the SPX. So that's what that is. So that's not a good gauge anymore. It used to be a great gauge. It's not the same thing anymore. Let's check in with our fangs. So all of pretty much tech was selling off huge pre-market. They're all kind of catching a little bit of a bid here. Not too surprised, but I don't see that accelerating to the upside anytime soon. Probably see this go up a little bit on some of these like Facebook, Google, Apple, but then it probably will continue to sell off. I'm surprised Apple is continuing to sell off as it has been. Some of the other names pre-market were all the chip stocks. So like all of our NVIDIA, all of those, I'll go over them. So NVIDIA, you can see already selling off way. I mean, we're already down 3% after pre-market here. So NVIDIA was selling off pretty hard. Shop catching a little bit of a bid, as well as Boeing sold off pretty hard, but it's starting to catch up. And this is what I'm talking about. So it'll kind of catch themselves up. A lot of these charts are going to start turning bearish too. You guys will see when I go over some of the trade ideas here after that. McDonald's. So some of the defensive stuff, you guys, will be good to watch, like McDonald's, Walmart. All of those are kind of down right now. A lot of red across the board, but obviously not surprised or anything like that. I'm just saying those are good ones to keep an eye on. So our ad divergence line opening up this morning at a negative 1661, 14, and now we're down to a negative 61. So we're continuing to drop. And that's quite a bit low from yesterday. So now we're looking at, the magical number, like on the SP 100 is 90. So you kind of like balance that out. I mean, I cannot believe this VIX is up to 17. That is crazy. So those are all, so 600% on some of those hedges. That's what I was talking about. And that's why you just leave them alone. You just open those up and leave them alone. I mean, the fact that we are at a 12, I mean, you guys can see how quick that can climb. I mean, we're up again another 16% today in the VIX. Absolutely insane. So hitting a low of 3077.25 in the S&Ps. Not too surprised there. I'm going to check in on some of my plays over here. So NVIDIA and Beyond both leading the charge at down 3%, AMD down 2.6%, BABA down 2.5%, Apple 2.5%, Skyworks, Cat Shop, Disney down 1.8%, Twitter down 1.6%, Qualcomm, XLF. The XLF is down 1.37%, so that's not even as much as I was expecting. So tech and the semis, you guys really sold off hard this morning, kind of leaving the charge. So if we can see the financials and tech kind of move back up a little bit, this might be able to turn this around a little bit, at least for the day. Wow, the VIX is up 15. Jeez, that's crazy. 16%. So yeah, I'll have my eye on some reversals here, or any sign that we're going to catch a break today. I'm expecting some chop and consolidation. That's what we've been saying for the last week. And we called it last week into the Black Friday holiday weekend, and then we were talking about it yesterday. I know I was traveling, so I wasn't able to be on as significant, but that's what we've been talking about. And Darth has said the exact same thing. So we need this. The market desperately needs this to breathe a little bit, guys. So that's what's going on here. So the VIX coming down to a 17 now, as the ad divergence line's trying to catch and push up a little bit here, but not going to expect too much out of that so far. Yeah, so Google, Netflix actually getting bought up pretty good there, but and Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, all down significantly, and Microsoft just kind of trying to figure out a direction, even though it's already down almost $2. So, and that's pretty big for Microsoft, as we all know. Roku already up almost 3% this morning now, moving up out of pre-market. So that's something to watch out on Roku. And Boeing also pushing up. That's going to push up on the Dow, so that could be significant. Watch that Boeing play. And Roku, Shop, and Activision. So this page, other than NVIDIA, that's pretty funny. They're all my Momo moves. So Boeing, Roku, Activision, Shopify, and Tesla all pushing up here, and NVIDIA, even though it's down significantly, it's already pushed up to over $2. So it's actually pushing up in line. So all of these are pushing up together. Baba and Baidu, although they were down, the Chinese names are also pushing up. AMD was at a low of 37.15. Now it's already up another 70 cents. Qualcomm kind of continuing to sell off. No surprises there. Disney also doing the same, bounced right off the lower Celt on the 4-hour and pushing up. McDonald's kind of lingering, but I'm expecting if these are going to start pushing up like this, that we'll probably see that kind of stuff push back off. Let me look. I want to show you guys. So we'll look into our futures. So you can see here now, as this is kind of, you don't see it significantly in the market, like it's not moving up as much, but as those individual names, as you can see. But you can see here, this is already pushed down a little bit. If this starts to accelerate down farther, then I will be looking for a possible long scalp going up. So gold up also about $13, so not as significant as I thought. Oil had a little bit of sell off there pre-market, but it's starting to catch a little bit of a bid again. So these are all really important things to keep an eye on, guys. That page is very important. That's why I've used that exact page, not just for the stream. I've used this page for probably the last 4 years, or similar to it at least. Continue to watch our ticks here. I'm going to bring that up a little bit so I can see it. I like to have those visual elements of the lines. It really helps me kind of see it at a glance, because I've got the 6 screens. I'm kind of looking all over the place because I've got the 2 other computers, so kind of gets kind of crazy looking at it. So the ad divergence line kind of petered out there. We're at about 1620, but we're pushed up from a 1690 low, so that's pretty good. Again, this is going to be pretty choppy here. I have not gotten anything yet. If I do, I'm going to try to bring it up in real time and show you guys what I'm looking at. It's just really hard for me to, I'm going to get out of things, obviously, but it's hard for me to get in things when it's like this. I do want to check in on... Wow, Roku already up 4% this morning. Let's bring up... So here's that Roku chart. And remember, guys, get used to the new format. So monthly, weekly, daily, 4-hour, 1 hour, 15-minute. So you can see we obviously, we had that big climb, and then we consolidated across, and then we had that downgrade, so it dropped significantly, right? So you can see it on the 4-hour here, too. On the daily, it just looks a little bit cleaner. So now we're starting to sell back up here. So we're already up, about 4% this morning, and you can see it was just kind of moving, and then it took off in pre-market, sold down a little bit, and then it's pushing back up. So what I expect this to do is kind of the same thing. It'll probably consolidate a little bit, push up, consolidate, and then I might see some profit taking again. But this thing needs to, they definitely want to buy this up. They're not going to want this to keep selling off. You can see up here on the weekly, though, there is a lot of room to the downside. So if this thing continues to sell off, especially if it breaks this lower Celt today, If it turns around and breaks this lower Celt today, this thing is going to accelerate to the downside huge, especially off the daily. And then you look at the weekly, and you can just see how much it has a lot of room back down to fill these gaps. So, and there's not a lot of stops in the way. There's probably just this one here about the 119, and that's a huge drop already. So that's what I'll be watching this week on Roku. Very, very significant level right here on the daily on this lower Celt. So that's what I'll be watching in Roku. Let me see what else I was looking at. Was watching Starbucks. Let's look at Tesla. So Tesla's starting to push back up here. So it had a nice push up pre-market. The high was 338.50 pre-market, so that'd be a significant level. So if you were to get long in here, make sure you get it on a down tick and then go long. But if I was to go long, I'd be looking to get out around 338-ish. 338.50, and to the downside I'd be looking at yesterday's pre-market low, which was 328.50. So you got a bit of wiggle room here, 338 to 328. So you got a $10 range on Tesla, which is a reason I like to play Tesla, is because of the range on it. So, and a lot of these, you guys, I don't even get directional on most of these. A lot of this stuff, the way the market is right now, I'm not getting super directional. I'm actually, setting up a lot of neutral butterflies and stuff like that. And I've been traveling, so I haven't really set up much. So I'm hoping today I can find a couple of those plays to show you guys, so it'll make a little more sense. We were watching Target yesterday for the bull flag. It kind of broke that down. You can see here on the daily it was holding it pretty nice, and then this definitely did not help yesterday and today. But if this can get pushed back up here, I'd really like to see that. It really needs to hold this upper Celt on the daily, or we'll definitely see some sell side action. I mean, Target, you can see here on the monthly, I mean, it is up huge this year. I mean, from what was like $60, I think. Yeah, $64 all the way to $120. So it is literally up over 100% this year. So that's pretty intense for Target. But again, the reason we like to watch Target. So ad divergence line kind of still doing the same, kind of floating in there in between. The VIX is back up to a 1750. Everything is pretty much ticking down. All markets are ticking down. The Dow is down 1.2%. The S&P is down 1.1, and the Nasdaq is down 1.29. So we got our percent to drops after yesterday and today. So that's pretty significant. I mean, if this is nothing huge, this isn't like, I think somebody was joking yesterday in the Discord saying blood in the streets. I mean, there are people. The pessimism on the index charts was at a all-time high, but this isn't the huge drop we've been talking about. This is not even close to it yet. The media is gonna hype this up because that's their job and that's how they make money. But this is not the drop, you guys. When it goes this fast, that's not a good thing. Long, slow drops, those are significant. When it drops this fast, it's a reaction. It's going to stall out, and then we're going to get bought to new highs. I can almost guarantee it, unless there's some huge macro event that I don't see, obviously. But I guarantee you that that's what's going to happen. Sorry, guys, I'm typing on the other computer here. There we go. All right. What the hell, Steam? That was weird. So starting to get a little bit of a push up on the ad diversion lines here. Ticks still, they're starting to kind of turn around a little bit, especially on the S&P. So that's good. We'll see if this continues to push up here, we could see this being saved. I mean, there's no way this is going to, end the day in the green. I don't see that even possible. But if we could push up to like maybe get under like a 0.3%, that would be significant, and I would see that. But we need some consolidation days. It's one day is not enough. It's going to take a couple of days, 2-3 days at least, before we start the grind back up. And I think it's going to take a good 3 weeks to push back up to newer highs. But I definitely that is still in play. Nothing has changed my mind about what I've been saying for the last 2 months. and especially in the last 2 weeks. So, this is all stuff you guys gotta keep your eyes on. I know it gets, especially when the media is flipping everything and it's all you see is negative talks. It is really hard to not just follow suit with what they're saying also. So gold is up over 1%. Bonds are up over 1%, so that is significant for bonds. Let's check in with some of our FANGs. So Facebook continuing to sell off. Netflix had a nice big pop and then kind of sold back down. It's kind of chopping across now. Same with Google. It is now starting to sell off again. Apple is just kind of chopping to a lower grind down. Amazon continuing to fall down, and Microsoft pretty much the only one that's kind of straight across. So they're all 1.19, 2.5, 1.45, 1.9, 0.262, 1.39. So Google being the significant leader in the FANGs, but also still down. So Boeing kind of stalling out there at that high of day. Shopify continuing to push up. It is now in the green, about $1. Roku up 4.7%, which is about $6.49, so $6.50. Nvidia falling back now below that 202.43 level is very, very critical, and it's losing that. So it's now I'm looking at it probably continuing to sell off a bit today. I mean, it's already down 3.4% and $7, so that's big for Nvidia. Tesla just barely in the green. It's got some resistance here on the 4-hour with the 14 MA right there kind of holding it. So if it can break that, maybe look for a target of 1 up to that middle Celt on the 4-hour, but I don't really. That's why I didn't get in it right away either. I just don't see it holding up with the market looking as weak as it is. Tesla's kind of its own angel, but Qualcomm way down, $1.94. So even though the percent is only 2.3%, for a stock that has limited range like Qualcomm to me is it's something that I have invested in, and I'm not in it anymore. I got out of it at the beginning of the year because these chips are just not holding up like they were. AMD being the leader in all of them, but it's still down 2.3%. You can see here this morning. And McDonald's continuing to sell off, now down $1.71 this morning. So that is where we sit as of now. Ticks continuing to go down in the other markets. S&P is pretty much going straight across. So yeah, again, just like what we were saying, it's going to be a lot of choppy business this morning. It did hit a low of 30.75.50, and that puts us at about a 1.2% negative this morning, down about $39. So pretty significant drop the last couple days, but again, that's good. We need it to do this to breathe a little bit. We were up really, really high. And it is ironic when you see the news, kind of lead the charge, even though on the technicals and sentiment we kind of knew this was coming. It is bizarre. The chicken or the egg? So pessimism on my pessimism chart is at an extreme. So that will be significant. I'll be something I'll be watching, and I will explain if we change and as we go. So my target to the downside, you guys, would be about 30.58ish. Somewhere right in there. So between 30.50 and 30.60, so 30.55, 56, 57, somewhere in there. VIX now up at 17.9, so we're up over 20% on the VIX this morning, so that puts those hedges at 720% as we continue to fall down here, and the ad divergence line also as we're ticking down. So again, if we continue to sell off, I'm looking somewhere about 30.58 is what I would say. That's where the next breakout level was. So that would be the next support down. Yes. And I guess too, the other thing is just nobody's used to these down days, and so when it comes out of nowhere, it just everybody starts panicking. But it's a healthy thing. That's the funniest thing to me is whenever the market, it's like people in this market. I think they've gotten spoiled over the last 12 years. No one in this market knows how to actually trade or actually invest. So the only way they know how, they are one direction. They can only go up. They literally are only able to trade and do well when they're bullish. They do not know any other techniques or strategies or anything. And so as soon as the market turns the other way, they start freaking out and they're just sell, sell, sell. And it's like, I love when it goes down. I love down days because it accelerates faster to the downside. I make more money. So I don't really understand. They just, obviously they don't, and again, another reason why why options are so much more of an incredible product to me than anything else. So I've got so many bad emails, so many people emailing me, freaking out, like 8 or 9 just this morning, of people just panicking. Like, calm down, it's okay, this is good. this is what we needed. I think though, when they're on the other side of the trade again, and when you're not hedging, this is gonna be scary. It's exactly why we keep bringing that up as such an important factor here, guys. It's just crazy to see some range finally in the market. It's been so 20 points a day. It's finally moving. That part's nice. So we just tapped that 30.6950. 30.65 is another significant level, and then from there it would have been that 30.55. So we'll see what she wants to do. But if we continue to sell off a bit today, that's where I would see like a low of low happen. But again, we're having the sellers caught some momentum here, but now it's actually kind of fallen off a little bit. So that'll be interesting to see as we get into the after the first hour. So we got about 35 minutes to see if the sellers can keep this going or not. And so far, they're not being able to. So just see what happens here. Bonds continuing to push up. Gold is pushing back up over the 1485, almost 86 level. So that is significantly bearish. The VIX back down to a 761. I'm surprised we didn't get over. I thought we were going to hit 18. I was kind of holding out to sell some more, but our fangs from their lows, they've pushed back up just a little bit in Facebook, Netflix, and Google. Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft all still relatively close to their lows of the day so far. Boeing giving back just about all of its gains. Roku still up 4.4%, 4.5%. Shopify now coming down a little bit, back down to 330s. I was hoping to see it at least tap that upper kelp before I thought about maybe getting a reversal play on that. But yeah, Nvidia continuing to fall. It did have a low of 237. It's at 201.30, but it lost that critical 202.43 level. Tesla continuing to hold resistance at that 14 MA on the 4 hour. So if it can push past that, then I would be looking at a possible movement up. I forgot the sorry. And then Qualcomm still down at 80.40. Disney still sitting around 147.91. And Baidu now really starting to accelerate to the downside now, hitting a low of 113.30, but sitting at 113.86. But you can see on the 4 hour there, it lost the lower kelp, so I'm not too surprised to see a little bit of a significant more sell-off there. Same with BABA there in the left-hand corner, upper corner. It is kind of giving back the gains that it was trying to push up on after selling off pre-market, but now it's really desperately holding on to this middle kelp on the 4 hour for support. If it loses that, we're going to see a pretty big sell-off, probably down to the 186.42 level, which is the lower kelp on the 4 hour. So, and McDonald's continuing to sell off also. AMD trying to push back up, but still down about 95 cents as of now. Divergent line trying to pick up again, about negative 16.15. VIX coming down to a 17.50, and the ticks are finally starting to turn up a little bit, other than the NASDAQ still down pretty significantly. And we're starting to push up a little bit here on the market. So this is that chop we're talking about. So I think we're going to probably be range bound for the day here. I'd say it could get lower and a little bit higher, but I don't think we'll get, there's no way, I don't think we'll be over a 30.90, and I don't think we'll get below a 30.60. So I know that's a big range for what we've been used to, but as of now, I mean, we've basically kind of been stuck in the 30.70 to 30.80. So, but I see we'll probably push through that. But I think we'll be a range day today. Oh, I need to take a call real quick, guys. This one will be not very long. I will be back on in just a couple minutes here. Yeah, give me just a minute. Sorry about that, guys. I had to, so you actually brought up a good question. So I'm actually glad I took that call. So I want to show you guys what I've been talking about all morning here with these bonds. So you guys see this now where these bonds are hitting daily highs. Now they continue to go up, being bought. They're breaking out to daily highs, and the S&Ps were just kind of still sitting here. I would be very, very careful about anything I do other than maybe getting going for the next leg lower. When the bonds are pushing up this hard, as they just did, this could be what I'm talking about when you're looking for some clues. As these bonds continue to push up at daily highs now, and this is just kind of floating up, pushing up. If these bonds continue to keep pushing up, this could be a next leg lower. Now, as I say that, they're kind of pushing down, and you see the market pushing up. That's, you've got to give it a few minutes. But if these bonds, and I'll keep a very, very close eye on these, if these continue to push up, that's when we'll see this market start to drop back down to the next leg lower. I do think this is kind of where we're going to be sitting, is in these ranges here. But if these bonds keep accelerating, especially if we get up to like 1.5% today, and these keep pushing up, this will take a next leg lower. So I'm just warning to be careful here at these levels. This is again one of those range driven days where everything happened pre-market, and now we're just kind of gonna chop around in this little area here. So bond sitting at a 159.13, so I would significantly watch this, and especially if we push up towards like 159.50. That's where I would see a next leg down. So that's what I'm watching, guys. I just want you guys to kind of get into some of the mindset of kind of what I'm looking at. And then obviously my next indicators is I watch tick, and then I watch the divergent lines just to kind of get a gauge overall, so that it's not just one thing. I don't want to make it too complicated at this point, and it's not really, and especially once you kind of learn one thing, the next kind of falls into place easier and simpler. But I think all of these things combined are the, what do you call it, like that makes all of these things combined kind of become the overall, okay, if X and Y are doing this and Z and B are doing this, then then this is more significant. It's a matter of probabilities, because nothing ever follows 100%. You can't write a rule and say when this and this happens, every time this happens. It's that when this and this happen and this aligns, the probability of this happening is higher. That's 100% what it is. If people can tell you that there are, like, the market moves and they have 13 standard moves that we can tell you what the next move is, they're lying. There's no way, it's not possible. But a matter of probability is possible. And as I was giving my little speech there, market is starting to tick down a bit again and pushing down a little bit here, sitting at about 3074.75. And the Dow is down 1.42%, the S&P is 1.17%, and the NASDAQ down 1.21%. So all pretty much in line with the Dow kind of leading the charge there. So not too surprised. Target starting to push up pretty good here again this morning. Here, let me pull that back up, you guys, from where we got in. Yeah, so you can see here on the 15-minute, it's a little bit easier to see. Yeah, so it had that sell-off, hit a low of 122 pre-market, and now it's been pushing up from there. So we opened right around like 122.30, and now we're already up to 123.76. So even though this is in the green, this has been a nice little play here on target again to the upside. So starting to push back up, and it is over the middle Celt on the 4 hour, so that's significant. If it can hold this as support, I could see this thing starting to reach out towards 126 today, tomorrow, maybe even by Thursday at the latest. You can see the bond starting to push back up there, you guys, just like what I was just saying, going back to those highs again. So this will be significantly, this will be what I'll be watching pretty much all morning, is going to be bonds versus the market. And they are saying now that U.S. stocks extended losses after a report that Trump is moving forward with the December 15th tariffs on Chinese goods. I don't know how he knows that in 12 days already, but okay. That's why he's president and I'm not. Yeah, so Roku and Tesla being the two names that I primarily watch and play that are pushing up this morning. So that'll be significant for both of those that they're being able to hold this so strong in a market so weak. Nvidia coming back to life here, already now pushing up really good over that 202.43 level that I've been seeing so significant, back up to over 203.80. So this thing is starting to really move up here again. Roku up over 5% this morning. And Tesla, even though it's only up 0.1%, it came back from almost about 331.50-ish, I think, 331.40. So that's pretty significant to hold up against a market like that. AMD is finding resistance there at the lower celt on the 4-hour, but I think we could see that breaking that. And if it does, it's got a lot of resistance overhead, but it really needs to close up over that lower celt on the 4-hour before it can continue to push up any further this morning. So, and Nvidia getting over that 204 level. Wow, really just ripping up here in the last few minutes. That was crazy to watch. Apple keeping away from extending its losses. Netflix kind of slowly grinding up now. Still not hitting a higher day yet from that initial push out of the gate. Same with Facebook, similar to Apple, hit a low of 195 but sitting at about 196.14. Google starting to sell back off again. Microsoft is chopping sideways as usual, and Amazon now hitting a low of 1750.11 but holding around 1751.68. And the bonds up now 1.35% at 159.17, so that is significant as they continue to push up. This market again, when I pointed it out, same exact thing, that it's that next leg down, guys. So the fact that these bonds are not giving up at all and they're continuing to push up, that'll be something key to watch this morning. I just want to keep reiterating that /ZB over and over and over. I'm going to tell you guys this is such a critical thing to watch, is the correlation between bonds and the market, especially the S&P. Yeah, this is a very, very clever view on this, and it's exactly kind of what I've been saying. This is from a very, very high up hedge fund manager that I respect a lot and actually follow. While stalled China trade negotiations, increasing tensions are a legitimate concern, we also have to respect Trump's comments are most likely a tactic to try to get things moving again. So Any comments coming from the United States and China regarding future negotiations speak to trying to gain leverage in talks. China wants the best deal possible. The United States wants the best deal possible. What they get done remains to be seen. That's exactly what I'm saying. So when when I read those comments, I did not think it warranted as big of a drop as it did. However, the market needed a drop anyway. It really did, and starting from yesterday. So this was something that it needed to do, and so it just accelerated from those. But when you look at his exact comments, it's obvious what's going to happen. There's no way he's saying that to scare them into thinking that he can just wait and sit on his hands, and they're going to start panicking because they know that now those tariffs are coming. They're going to want to start to cave. So that's what he's playing. He's playing that game. He's playing that game of, oh well, whatever, I'm good. Like you guys can suffer, and so they're going to start panicking. Now part of me would say that they would be able to see right through him, but it seems like the ball is more in Trump's court than China. So I think that's exactly what he's doing, and this is exactly what he needs to do to gain that leverage, and then this will be that next push up to all-time highs from here. I guarantee that's almost exactly what's going to happen. Mark my words. 10:15 a.m. December 3rd, 2019. Calling it right here. The one thing that does worry me a little bit in real life, not the China thing, is this thing with France. This is not smart. I think not smart by France either. The fact that they tried to attack Google and Facebook, like, it was the stupidest thing they could ever do. Some of the stuff that guy does, that Macron guy, he's an idiot. I do not like him. I'm sorry. I think he's got some really good policies about, like, actual, things that really matter. But, the bonds are starting to come back down a little bit there, hit the 14 off the 15. So, yeah, this is going to be choppy chop, but we're already pushing up to a 30.80 now. So this could be a little bit of a leg up here as we're starting to tick up as well. You can see the add divergence lines picking up to a negative 1536. The VIX dropping pretty hard here in the last couple minutes, and the ticks are starting to rip up here to the other side. So what did I say, 30.90? Yeah, okay. I had to go back and look what I actually said. Target continuing to push up really strong this morning. That would have been a great trade if you guys followed. I know that was kind of tricky because it was down significant. I only even took one contract, but so here comes that push up here now. Bonds are starting to sell off. See, not selling off as they're pushing as the market pushes up. So if these bonds make another new high, they're kind of sitting between this 159.15 and 159.17. But if that starts to push up, then this leg up on the market is not going to be sustained, and it will give back those gains. So that's something I'm watching to see if that's where we get a little bit of a turnaround here. But nothing to tell me otherwise yet. I mean, we're coming up on the first hour, so this is, somewhat expected, especially with the add divergent line starting to pick up pretty good there. Now at a negative 1442. And our ticks ticking positive here. Yeah, be careful, guys. I know this is starting to look enticing because everything's kind of pushing up, but look at those bonds now hitting a high there again at 159.18. This is exactly what I'm saying. Be very, very careful getting directional in this market. Oh, man, those bonds are just ominous sign just waiting there. Surprised gold isn't picking up more than it is. When it's up over 1%, that's not nothing, but I'm just saying. I'd be much more inclined to go short again here, but bonds at daily highs now. Man, I haven't seen a rip in the bonds like this in a while. It's just crazy to see.